Hi, my name is Ryan Wu. I'm co-presenting with Felixia Walker, and we'll be discussing about a research paper, Friendship Quality as a Predictor Young Children's Early School Adjustment, which was written by Gary Lade, Becky Cohenhofer, and Cynthia Coleman.
The purpose of this research was to elucidate or clarify the relationship between specific friendship processes and differing school adjustment outcomes. The defined study measures are children's school affect, perceptions, involvement, and performance.
There are four hypotheses that researchers concluded from previous scholarly work. First, friendship affects children's development and adjustment. Second, social provisions such as companionship, support, and conflict may be present to varying degrees in children's friendship depending on the nature of the relationship and the characteristics of the partners. Third, children who reported higher levels of loneliness view their friendship as not only more conflictual, but also less validating, companionate, helpful, and intimate. Lastly, friends who reported higher level of intimate exchange were more likely to remain friends over the course of a school year. The main thing of this study is to assess young children's perceptions of classroom friendships and to determine whether these perceptions were associated with their adjustment during the transition to elementary school. The study is conducted by students who possessed a reciprocated and stable best friend in the classroom. The research findings are consistent with the hypothesis that the relational features of children's classroom friendships yield psychological benefit or cost.
There were 82 kindergarten students, average age 5.61 years, tested in this research study. This group was made up of 40 boys and 40 girls, all low to middle socioeconomic status. The racial composition of this group was about 12 African American, about 64 Caucasian, about 2 Hispanic, and about 4 identifying as other. The methodology of this research study was students were interviewed with 30 questions selected from the Friendship Features interview for young children, key to 8 constructs, including the following: the friendship processes, friendship satisfaction, friends' impact on child's affective experience at school. Children were asked to respond to the questions using yes, which was scored as 2, no, which was scored as 0, and sometimes, which was scored as 1. There were 2 interview occasions, one happening in October and one happening in January.
The first main finding is that conflict was associated with score adjustment difficulties, and this relation was stronger for boys than for girls. To be more specific, perceived conflict in boys' friendship was associated with declining levels of school involvement. Besides, boys who show low classroom engagement tended to report higher levels of loneliness and low levels of school liking. The second main finding is that both validation and aid in friendship process forecasted gains in children's perceptions of classroom peer support, and measures of these same two processes correlated with children's perceptions of their own effect in school. On top of that, aid also forecasted changes in school liking. Children who characterized their friendship as offering higher levels of aid tended to like school better as the school year progressed.
When young children are asked to evaluate the quality of their friendships, they are capable of distinguishing between the key friendship processes. On differing items, the children's responses were differentiated, meaning that on interview items intended to tap differing friendship processes, young children responses were both differentiated, meaning less correlated across the items representing differing friendship processes, and convergent, meaning more correlated among items tapping the same friendship processes. This is consistent with the hypothesis that young children do recognize differences in the quality of their friendships and that the differences in perceived friendship quality exist at this age level. The perceptions that young children develop about specific friendship processes were associated with relationship outcomes such as friendship satisfaction and stability. The data specifically suggests that young children tend to be more satisfied with their relationships when these relationships are perceived to offer higher levels of validation and exclusivity and lower levels of conflict. A few questions to consider. How would you expand on this research? And number two, do you think that other factors besides gender had an effect on the outcomes of this research?